In this session we will learn how to bring up direct attached storage server. Server configuration using pre-boot utility in option ROM, UEFI, and OS installation. We will do a step-by-step approach to bring up a direct attached storage server.
What are the pre-boot components and operating systems needed for server bring up? Pre-boot components on the host bus adapter or the RAID on motherboard ROC chip needed are: Option ROM for legacy BIOS, UEFI BSD High for UEFI-based systems. Recommended 64-bit operating systems for a server system are Linux, Oracle Enterprise Linux, OEL, FreeBSD 11p1. Microsoft Windows 10 64-bit or Windows 2016 Server 64-bit. This requires a license key to activate a copy of your OS for full feature support. VMware as a hypervisor for virtualizing the server hardware. When you first power on the server system, you will see option ROMs post messages. POST stands for Power on Self-Test. What is UEFI? UEFI stands for Unified Extensible Firmware Interface, which is secure and provides additional features to a system. The Unified Extensible Firmware Interface, UEFI, is a software technology that prepares a computer to boot into an operating system. It replaces the legacy basic input-output system called as BIOS. Press Ctrl and R keys to enter into option ROM configuration utility. The key combinations can be different for different host bus adapters. For example, a LSI-SAS host bus adapter as a key combination as Ctrl and C. In this example, we have connected the storage system to onboard ROC controller. Once you enter the BIOS configuration utility, you will see the physical drives listed as unconfigured drives. You need to configure it as individual JBOD drive or into a simple RAID volumes for using them on the server. In option ROM, let us try to create a virtual disk. Highlight the controller as shows in the figure, then press F2 function key. In the pop-up window, select Create Virtual Drive. In option ROM, you will now see a new window as Create New VD. Select the RAID level 1. You can use Tab key to move the field selections. In this example, we will select two drives of 111.28 GB to create a RAID 1 volume. In this screen, select two drives of 111.28 GB using spacebar for a RAID 1 volume. Enter a name for this volume. Then press OK. A RAID 1 volume will be created and a pop-up message appears asking to initialize the volume. There are two cases here. If the disks were a part of a virtual drive of RAID 1 and the configuration was lost due to some reasons, you can keep the newly created volume as uninitialized to check if you are able to retrieve the previous data. In most of the cases, it is recommended to initialize the virtual drive volume to remove any stale data on the drive. This is recommended for installing a new operating on the VD or if you are planning to use it as a data storage. To initialize a virtual drive, VD, in option ROM, select the Virtual Drive Management tab. Highlight the virtual drive and press F2 key for the operations to be carried on the VD. A pop menu appears providing a list of operations as you see it on the screen. Select Initialization now. Once you select Initialization, a second pop-up window appears showing the types of initialization to be selected. There is an option of Fast FGI which performs the initialization of the virtual drive quickly. This consumes less time. If you need a complete erase of the virtual drive, you may select Erase VD option. This is mostly used to wipe complete data on a VD. This takes more time to complete the erase operation on a VD. The fast initialization and erase VD options will erase any data present on the drive. To proceed, please press Yes. Now, you will see the initialization operation in progress. A percentage of completion is displayed on the right-hand side of the screen. Observe the drive slot LEDs on the JBOD blinking during the initialization. For RAID 1, the disks are mirrored, which means the same data exists on the other physical disk. A synchronization operation makes the RAID 1 volume to optimal state, which means the background initialization, BGI, should be 100% complete. Observe the initialization progress. It now has reached to 11%. When the initialization gets completed, a pop-up messages indicates that the initialization is complete. The initialization is complete. The VD0 represents the virtual drive number 0. You may create further VDs or continue the installation of OS. This screen shows the volume label, the size of the volume and the virtual drive state. The strip size is the size that the RAID controller supports. You may now exit from the Option ROM utility. Reboot the system by pressing Ctrl+Alt+Delete key combinations. In the upcoming slides, let us explore the HI of UEFI for a storage adapter. This server also has a SAS. Once you enter the SAS3 controller from the main menu, the next page displays the controller version and the type of controller. In this case, this is a SAS3 MPT controller. Press Enter key to select the next menu options. Once you enter the configuration options, the menu options shows controller management. Press Enter to select the controller management. Their controller management has three options, namely: View controller properties, Change controller properties, Advanced controller properties. View controller properties displays the details on the controller, such as chip name, chip revision, PCI ID, PCI slot number, host interface, physical disk count connected to the controller, firmware type, firmware version, and the ENVData version details. ENVData is a non-volatile region that stores configuration pages of the I/O controller. Now let us explore the physical disk management. The physical disk management consists of two parts. View physical disk properties. Select physical disk operations. View physical disk properties displays the individual drive details that is selected by physical disk ID. The disk state, select physical disk operations displays the various operations that can be performed on the disk slot like locate. The LED blinks. View physical disk properties screen displaying the disks in the format of enclosure number, slot number, and device or target number. In the coming sessions, let us install an operating system on the server system. Download the OS ISO image from There are two options to install the operating system. You can consider to install the OS on a drive connected to the onboard AHCI or a SATA controller or onto a drive connected right behind the host bus adapter. To install behind host bus adapter, ensure that the operating system has the inbox device driver for the adapter. If there is not supportable inbox driver, you need to create a driver update disk from the ISO image provided by the vendor of the host bus adapter or the OS vendor. The DUD contains the device driver for the storage controller used on the host bus adapter. The DUD media can be created the same way as that of the OS media has been created. It is recommended to use dd command on Linux and any supported utility like Rufus on a Windows system. In this example, we are using Oracle Enterprise Linux, OEL, for the installation. The DUD media is also inserted into another port of USB. Once system boots from the bootable OS media, edit the parameter for EFI-based environment if the kernel is RHEL, as shown in the figure. This ensures that the latest drivers are loaded during the OS install. Please note that the latest Linux kernels have inbox driver provided in the upstream kernel. Hence in most cases the host bus adapter is detected by the OS. We are using Oracle Enterprise Linux, OEL, for the installation in this session. Select the Install option. A welcome screen shown notifies the user to select the appropriate language and the region for the current install. Select the disk or the volume here. The operating system will be installed on this disk going forward. The disk will be partitioned and formatted by the installer. An expert may opt to partition the disk based on the needs. On the localization screen, ensure that the correct time and date are displayed. The installation media and the keyboard type needs to be correctly selected. Select the type of operating system you want to install. This can be a server, a workstation with graphical user interface or without a GUI. For a beginner, it is recommended to use a server with GUI. Select the optional packages you want to install. Recommended packages are development packages, administration tools and build essentials for source code compilations. Once you are done with the drive selections, localizations, package selections, proceed for install. Enter the root password. This is very important for Linux OS administration. Enter the root password. Create a user with a username, full name, and password credentials. This will help new users or beginners not to change. As the installation progresses, wait until the installation is complete. This might take few minutes depending on the number of During OS installation, observe the drive activity LED blinking for any read/write that happens on that drive. Once the OS installation is complete, the installer reboots the system. Now, the boot menu shows the boot device. Once the initial setup information is exchanged, connect the server to the network if needed. Click Finish Installation. Now you are good to go and explore the direct attached storage server system. Now, open a Linux terminal or a console. Type a command lsc and press enter. You will see the SCSI Assignments. What are the differences between legacy BIOS and UEFI? Why do you prefer 64-bit OS against a 32-bit OS? Explain in detail how Windows 10, FreeBSD 11p1 can be installed on a server. What is a drive update disk, DUD? How do you create a DUD on a USB drive? What is the difference of installing an operating system on drives connected to onboard SATA controller and the drives connected to SAS host bus adapter? Which are the operating systems used extensively?
This is the end of the session. For any queries or more information, please log in to www.sbkmake.com. Thank you.